Welcome to Dateline Health. This is Fred Lippman coming to you from the Alan B. Levan Center. Of recent date, I would say, people started to get very interested in mental health issues. And that led me to want to get somebody to talk to you about counseling. And the reason that I chose this particular person, Dr. Ashley Stripling, is because, and that's a Ph.D. doctor, she's a director of NSU's Counseling Center for Older Adults. Now, one would say, well, why? Is it only older adults that need this counseling? No, but we can only do one subject at a time. So, welcome, doctor. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
What are the most common concerns that are challenging older adults?
I that's a wonderful question. The way we run NSU's Counseling Center for Older Adults is much like when a student might enter college. They are facing a big life transition, which means that it's not necessarily a mental health crisis, but they're also having some difficulty adjusting. Adjusting to college is hard, adjusting to being married for the first time is hard, adjusting to having new children is hard, and also adjusting to being in later life can be hard. And so a lot of what we deal with, a lot of the issues that we deal with in the clinic are how do we adjust to normal aging related changes as we enter kind of that second half of our life. So things like grief, maybe bereavement, maybe retirement, which is both exciting but can bring unique and new challenges to us.
Well, unique is a very good word because I believe, and in being involved in many national organizations, I find that some of the issues that are inherent to the state of Florida, not only here in South Florida, but the whole state of Florida, is that we have elders, adults. When I'm saying, I don't know what you can consider older adults, but elders. Because I mean, the state of Florida has the highest number of people over the age of 70 of any state in the union, and we have the highest number of people over the age of 85 living in our state, of any state in the union. But just talking to the issues that you just remanded to your comments to me, I wonder if the issue of retirement is as wonderful as the word sounds like it's going to be. Florida has really blossomed with the creation of, they haven't created it, but adult living facilities. I'm wondering about the concerns that you deal with people who are living in these wonderful facilities.
That's another great question. I think that when we have expectations about what the second half of our life is going to look like, what retirement might look like, or our second life, our second job might look like, we are thinking about all the positive things that you mentioned, doing our hobbies, playing golf with our friends, having a great time. And sometimes we fail to account for unique things that might come up. Perhaps we get an age-related sensory decline. We might need extra glasses. Perhaps we don't hear as well as we used to, or we develop a medical condition that takes a lot more of our time, or our spouse develops some cognitive concerns and our memory is not exactly what it used to be. And we start getting a little bit that. And so we see clients in the clinic from that live all over the community. Some are in their own homes, some are in ALFs. And what we really try to do is better understand what is bringing them in to see us today. What unique challenge are they adjusting to? And we try to give them the best skills and tools that we have available. What the research says, the best tools are available to help them be successful for whatever unique challenge they're addressing.
Well, it's very important because, you know, I find, and this is just my observation, you can tell me whether I'm right or wrong, but people spend so much time in front of the television camera or television set, I should say. I mean, I'm looking at the camera, but they spend so much time, and now with carrying their cell phones, they get bits and pieces of information or clarified by whoever puts it on there. And I'm just wondering, how do you handle some of that?
That's the world. The only thing constant is change. The world moves so quickly. And I think some people are able to embrace this change and live with it. And then I think, regardless of our age, sometimes when we're looking at the television, we're looking on social media, what we're seeing is everybody's best life. We are not necessarily putting the things up on social media for everybody else to look at when we are having a bad time. We're putting up when we're on vacation or when we had the high golf score. And that can leave individuals feeling sadder, or maybe even depressed, or maybe having anxiety that they're missing out on something better that is going on. And sometimes talking with a professional like myself can be helpful to normalize that experience and to find joy or positive things in their life that they're living right now.
You know, by my mentioning the issue of the number of people over age 70 and 85, I think, as I understand it, and you can tell me, you have specialized support for those that are coping with the loss of a spouse, a friend, or a family member.
We have a lot of support groups. We have one that deals with Parkinson's. So both either the individual themselves is living with Parkinson's or their care provider can come to one of the free psychoeducational support groups that we have. We also recently got a grant from Jewish federations to provide 500 individual sessions along with two other clinics here, the Guided Self-Change Clinic and the psychological services for emotionally distressed clinic. My colleagues, Dr. Ruiz and Dr. Davids, are really helpful. We've kind of banded together and realized that we have a lot of need, whether that's losing someone because of death, or maybe you've retired and you've moved away from your family, or perhaps something is going on in your life that's making you fight with people and there's conflict. And what we're able to provide are some free services to kind of help people cope, to learn communication skills, to normalize emotionally, and to maybe help grieve.
I find myself, this is me talking to you, you're the professional, but I'm telling you that what I do is I tend to go back and want to listen to the music of the 60s and the 70s, et cetera, because it brings back good thoughts and memories. You know, and I'll say this to you, and I'll say it to the public that's been watching us for so long. I mean, we're well into our 600th show, so we've been talking to a lot of people. But when my father, God bless his soul, used to say to the family, don't ever count your friends by the money that's in their pockets. Count them by the memories that they give to you. So I'm just wondering, how does that fit in with your issue of loneliness, depression, anxiety, etc.?
I mean, it sounds like your father had very sage advice, and we use a lot of therapies in NACOA that are supported by research. And one of the ones that actually you're making me think of the most is something called life review. And it's based on the idea that the older we get, the larger the chance there might be that we've lived more life than we maybe have left to live. And the big challenge that goes on in this life stage is, as we are looking over that life, are we satisfied? Did we make all the memories we wanted to make? Did we do all the things? Did we say all the things that we wanted to say to the loved ones around us? And sometimes the answer is yes, and you feel connected and your mood is positive and you are able to still say those things. And sometimes the answer to that question is no. And we miss those people. And perhaps they have passed on, they did die, and we're unable to say what we need to say to them. And when that answer is no, it can lead to loneliness. We feel disconnected. It can lead to depression. We start to feel sad. We're maybe not sleeping as well or eating as well. It may make us feel anxious. We might think, man, in the time that I have left, am I going to be able to accomplish all that I want to accomplish? And when that happens, interventions like life review can help us help individuals explore the life that they've lived in preparation for the life that they have left and make sure that they're really living the life they want.
I don't know whether he's, this question is part of your service or one or the other, but there's a lot of anxiety, again, in the people beyond. We always talk about Social Security, age 65, age 67, whatever, and then all of a sudden they're not doing what they used to do for 30, 40 years, or what they went to college and become X or Y. They're no longer doing it. Well, how much golf can you play? And maybe you can't afford to play golf. You know, what I'm wondering is there any attentive opportunity through your center to have people get some fiscal analysis or an attempt to lead them to understand?
I think that the stressors of the world impact all of us day by day. And for younger working age adults, there might be this idea of like, okay, I can save a little more. I can prepare better for the future. This is something I can control. But we do know things like age discrimination is a very real phenomenon. And sometimes if your company does let you go, finding that next job at 65, 75, 55 is not the same as when you were 25. And yes, financial stressors do weigh heavily on the clients that we see. And we're trying to help with the free services, but also by better understanding how to think about and how to feel about things that are going on. So it might be a look at what is going on financially, but also how do we stay present in this moment? How do we stay here and now? These are real concerns. These are real worries that are going on with the world. We are concerned about these things. And at the same time, how do we stay in this moment? How do we stay present here? And how do we allow ourselves to be filled with things like well-being or joy instead of only anxiety and worry? How do we teach ourselves, but this might be a problem for future us? And there's some psychological interventions that we use in the clinic that do just that.
I was just thinking about it. Another thing that shows up, and we've had a comment by one of our viewers. They it was, and I'm sure it depends upon where you are. I mean, I had a very dear brother who unfortunately just passed away, that lived in Arizona for 60 some odd years. So, he had his family and neighbors and friends and whatever. But people who come from, it's dominantly in the state of Florida, they come from the Midwest or the Northeast primarily. I'm not denigrating any other area of the country. It's just that there seems to me to be more, shall we say, by number, the people who come to the state of Florida to retire. How do you deal with that?
First of all, sorry for your loss. It seems, just from this brief conversation, I can tell how important your family is to you and what a point of pride is for you to see them regularly and to feel connected to them. And I think that you're right. For a lot of clients we see, for a lot of people we meet out in the community when we do outreach events, we have noticed that connection can be hard and loneliness is a public health crisis. We are aware that as we get older, sometimes individuals in our lives get busier or they move away. And we see people who have had to do things like move back in with family members because during retirement, they can't maybe afford to live by themselves, or they allow their children to come in or grandchildren to come in and live with them. And one would think that this would help with loneliness, this would help with connection, but sometimes this causes unique disputes and unique challenges. You're suddenly having roommates again after 20 or 30 years, and it leaves you feeling isolated and lonely and disconnected in a new way. And so I agree with you. I think that it is a challenge that more people in later life are facing. And I think one of the things that we do offer some group sessions, we offer some couple sessions, we offer some individual sessions, and the goal is to make individuals more aware of interpersonal opportunities. Like, what is your family? What is a friend? How are those relationships going? How do we make those relationships as connected to possible? And we also rely on a lot of our other community supports, like 211 Broward, who has a friendship line. And we are so grateful to be well connected in the community where we can, if we can't provide all of your needs because they're maybe not solely related to mental health, we can connect you to the services that can.
It's a very interesting thing. I guess almost 3, 4 years ago, we did a show about first responders. And there seemed to be, there was a comment that was made that a lot of the calls that were sent their way really belonged to 211. And I'm just wondering, maybe this show will help out. But I would like you to provide obviously we know the number 211, but a little explanation as to what 211 could offer. And we'll put it up on the screen because, not only is it valuable, but because you don't place the pressure on the first responders, but because a lot of people call 211 because they're having they're depressed, or they have a crying session, or they had an argument with a child who lives in San Francisco or Boston or wherever. You see what I'm saying? I mean,
I do. I'm going to apologize. I don't have an exhaustive list of 211 services, but I do know that they offer a lot of services to help with fiscal support. I believe they do provide some nutritional services as well. We are listed as one of their service partners here at NACOA and the PSC. And I can echo what you said when you talked about first responders, because I too have talked to Dr. Van Hassel's another faculty member here, and he has invited me to come to talk to the first responders about aging issues they might experience, things like wandering because of dementia, or things like caregivers who are distraught or overwhelmed about what to do if the person they're trying to help is becoming aggressive to them. Like, what are services that are better suited towards me or mental health compared to other access in the community? I know the agency on aging in Broward is also affiliated with 211, and that's another wonderful service we use. But I wish I had more up to date on either one of their services, so I could provide you a better response. But I encourage your audience to Google both of those, or perhaps we can kind of provide the information to both of those as well.
that would be great. The area agency has been around for quite a while. We have grown to be the third largest state in the union. We have a lot of people that fit into the category that you deal with. So I'm going to give you the last few minutes of this show to tell me what your wishes are. Before I do that, you're going to tell people where you provide your services. All right? So tell us that first.
So I actually brought a little map. I promise I can do to Zoom, but we are right on NSU's campus. We're at the corner. We also offer telehealth service. We can be wherever you are as well after you kind of come in, and we give you a checkout. Sorry, maybe we can post that as well, but we are located just on the corner of campus, the other corner of campus opposite the health building, opposite the health and professions building.
When you say opposite, which side, where are you?
We are on the corner of College Avenue and Southwest 30th Street.
There you go. That's what I'm interested in.
I can be coached.
No, no, it's just I'm trying to offer service to the people who you want to serve. My desire to have you here is because there's so many people that, they're ill taught by media that everybody's going to have Alzheimer's or everybody's got this or everybody's got that. But I'm not playing doctor. I'm not. This is not a healthcare show for me to offer those comments. But the reason I wanted you specifically is because I knew what you were doing, and I think that it's, in a sense, it's as important as and with all due respect to the physicians that I've had opportunity to be part of their educational environment. You do mental health structured, shall I say, operations. You don't use a scalpel, but you use knowledge, and you use common sense, I believe, and a capacity to be interested in that person that comes to you. Is that it?
It is. And I think that my wish for your listeners is for them to know that if they are struggling with something in the later half of their life, they don't have to struggle alone, that we are here to help, that we are helpers. And oftentimes we put on a brave face and we think that we have to do this alone. We have to take care of everyone alone. And you don't have to. We are here to support you, and we know how resilient you truly are. We know what it takes to live so well for so long, and we could all use a little bit of help. And if you feel, for your listeners, if they feel like they could use someone to talk to, if they are struggling, if things are harder now than they used to be, that we're available and we are in a unique position to be able to offer services for free. If you're over the age of 60 and you've been through some significant life struggles, we are available.
Well, that's good to know. But we need your phone number, so you can say it right now, and then we'll put it up on the screen. But
Awesome. You can reach us at 954-262-5730.
thank you very much. I just, as you were talking, very quickly, because it's down to the last 2 minutes of the show, I had to pick up, not my wonderful, beautiful wife shops at Publix. Sorry, everybody else, but that's where she shopped. I had to pick up something. It wasn't, and I'm standing there, and they usually have somebody putting things into bags or whatever. And there's a nice gentleman, and I said, "I hope you're having a good day." And he said to me, "Oh, this is bad." He said, I really miss doing what I used to do." I said, "Well, what did you used to do?" He was a retired lawyer. And when he gave me his name, I knew what firm he was with. And I said, what are you doing here? And he said, "Well, I can't sit home alone." And that's really one of the reasons why I asked wonderful people who set up these situations where I can talk and listen to wonderful people like you turn out. And I said, what a perfect opportunity it is to let you know that this just happened to me maybe last week. And here's a guy standing there, and I didn't know what to say to him. And now I have a phone number, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to hand it to him. How about that?
We always appreciate a direct referral. And I think that this is this is almost our prototypical client, a client who is still living life and at the same time in struggle. They need a little bit of extra assistance, and we are here to help. Please provide them our number.
Well, we're down to the last 30, 45 seconds of the show. I want to thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you before the cameras, Dr. Stripling, and we appreciate it. We appreciate the fact that you're part of our Nova Southeastern University community. I've always said, and I've said this to Dr. Henbury many, many times, and previous President Ferrero, that the wonder of that so-called education unit west of I-95 is a jewel for the state of Florida, because we service people with needs, not only health care, but psychological needs, emotional needs, etc. And we're glad that you were here today. So thank you from my heart. Thank you very much. Folks, as I always say to you, this program is called Dateline Health. My name is Fred Lippman. If you have any questions or items that you want some information on, there's an email address right here with a telephone number. Just let us know. Again, my name is Fred Lippman. This show is called Dateline Health. Until next time, see you.